Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Mountain Bike Q&A. Holy cow, I'm your host, Johnny U. I'm excited. I'm excited for this because not only do I like what Ben is doing, CrankTherapy, if you will, but I didn't realize it. This weekend marked 2 years of doing Mountain Bike Q&A, and I really I can't believe I'm doing it still. I can't believe that you guys still want me to do it. And I want to thank you guys. So I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry, but I want to thank you guys so much for supporting this channel. I want to thank especially the people that were brave enough to take a chance to come on this not so big channel and be just awesomeness. There's so much awesomeness on this channel. And I hope people get it out there that the people that I have on this channel, I know I'm just rambling, but the people that I have on this channel are so amazing. I mean, I've got some great content creators on here. I mean, if you look on the section here, look at that. You got Spokesman MTB, Steve. I've had him on. I haven't had Fractured Rider, but it's 3 a.m. in Finland. Haven't had Medi yet, but thank you, Trail Pimp. You were incredible for supporting all those podcasters. So I want to thank everybody. That's all I really want to do, and I'm long-winded at doing it. But I want to thank everybody for liking and subscribing, and coming on here and commenting and being a part of this little thing that I'm doing that I just really love doing. To be honest, I was considering not doing it at one point. And I was talked out of it because I'm having such a blast doing it. And that's all that really matters. Enough about me. Let's get Ben on here. CrankTherapy. Again, thank you all for a like and subscribe if you're new here. Also Spotify. I'm on Spotify. If you could leave one of those little star reviews or comments or whatever, or subscribe to that'd be great, because that's actually moving really, really good. Again, let's bring Ben on from CrankTherapy. Ben,
Johnny.
there he is.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
How you doing, man?
Good. Hey, congratulations. 2 years. That's a big milestone.
Oh, it really is, man. I got to be honest with you. I don't have great, huge numbers with the subscribers and stuff, but I've got I am so fortunate to have so many great people who support this. And what's funny about it, and I'll get to you. Let's talk about me for a minute. I really thought that when I was going to do this, I was just going to be interviewing people, and then you say, thank you, bye. I've made so many great relationships through this. And I don't know if that's happened for you.
It has. And I'm glad that you stuck with it. 2 years is a long time, and I'm sure you've devoted a lot of time to this, and you grow a lot of relationships. So that's awesome.
Look at that. Trail Pimp. Congrats. Thank you, man. Gosh, it's just fun to do, darn it. And again, I've already said it to you, but I really appreciate you taking the time to do this with me.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to be here. I've been looking forward to it all week.
Oh, stop it.
No, I have a lot of time throughout the day where I'm making things and my brain is not exactly occupied. My hands are. And so I can listen to podcasts and audiobooks. And I've listened to a bunch of your podcasts. Some of them audio, and every once and again I treat myself and I watch the YouTube version. So I've been enjoying.
I really appreciate that. You're one of the people. I love it.
I'm here.
So I fell in love with yourself, but let's forget about your stuff. Let's talk about you. Where do you live?
Yeah, I live in central Pennsylvania. I grew up in the Pennsylvania area, then I got married, and we live near Harrisburg.
Harrisburg. And my mom or my sister will pop. My sister will pop on probably at some point. My people are from Pennsylvania. At least my mom's side.
Yeah.
And I've asked her a million times what part, and she tells me, and I keep forgetting.
Well, there's only 3 parts of Pennsylvania. There's Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and everywhere in between.
Everywhere in between.
I'm from everywhere in between. We affectionately call it Pennsyltucky. So I'm born and bred Pennsylvania.
What was it? New Bethlehem, Beth.
Yeah, Bethlehem's here. Yep, that's
Okay, I think that's
it's
where
part of Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Yeah, so many memories there. It was such a little itty bitty town. Pennsylvania is a great place.
Oh, yeah, yeah. A lot of the rural areas are hidden gems, but most people are from either Pittsburgh or Philadelphia, and that's what they know of Pennsylvania. But I think it's everywhere in between that really gives it its flavor.
My wife is sorry. You'll see this one right here. My wife is MTB TNA.
Nice.
Hey, is this where the things and stuff are happening? You gosh darn right, honey.
This is it for the last 2 years.
This is it. So, are you born and raised in Pennsylvania, or?
Yeah, I grew up near Erie, Pennsylvania, in a little town called Meadville. Shout out. And then, I went off to college in Pittsburgh, and after that, did some other things, traveled a bunch, lived abroad, and then when my wife and I decided to grow up, we came back to where she's from, which is this area, actually. And by this area, I mean her parents live about a football field away. They had a bunch of land, and they made us the offer: if you come back, you can have a little bit of land. So they chunked off the land. We built a house, and here we are.
Oh wow, how amazing is that?
Yeah, it's like the Perry County dream to have your kids live near you. And so actually, my wife's parents live on land that her parents gave her, and so there's at least 4 generations on this land. So it's a thing.
What kind of land? Well, I mean, how big is that land?
Well, it started off, I think, as 50 acres, and then they bought some land, acquired some things, and then they chunked it up so it kind of grows and expands. It's probably closer, with all the relatives, and they all have their own parcels. It's probably closer to 100 acres now.
Wow! So you got a little bit of that 100 acres?
I got a little slice of heaven, yeah. Katie and I, we got 10 acres, and it's awesome.
Oh, let me fix something on my camera, folks. There we go. Sorry.
Hey, spokesman MTB talking about Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Making it fun to be in the pits.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I went to college. I love Pittsburgh.
100. Uh-oh. He's also 100-acre bike park alert.
It's gone through my head. I mean, 10 acres, we can get a lot done, but that's gone through my head as well.
Now, you're a married man.
I am. 14 years. We had our anniversary last week.
Oh, congratulations. I wish
Thank you.
known. I would have sent you a sticker. What was going to say? And she's doing what right now?
She's out walking the dogs right now. She's a massage therapist, and so this is just her time to kind of get a little bit of peace. And so she's walking the dogs. She'll probably be in a little later.
What I wanted to get to the dogs. What kind of dog? I have 2 dogs. Anytime someone has a dog or dog, I love it. What do you got going on over there?
Do you have a wiener dog? Is that one of your dogs?
Yes, I have a wiener dog. I have a really dog tattoo.
Awesome. Yeah, we got 2 straight up mutts. One came with us from Peru. Actually, we lived there for a few years, and he kind of adopted us. We adopted him, and he came home with us. And then a few years ago, we decided maybe he needed a friend, so we adopted a mutt from the Humane Society, and they're like, completely different personalities. The one that came with us from Peru, he's a bit prissy, and he likes to be pampered. And the other one that came from the Humane Society, she's more of a baller, and her whole focus literally is on a ball. And so
that's funny.
Yeah, they get along. They're cute.
Straight line in the house. Yo, what's up, brother? Man, you're bringing in them all. This is great. What a great crowd wanting to.
2-year anniversary.
I just did 16. I could have killed her and gotten out earlier. I'm kidding, honey. Boom. So you're what is? Wait a minute. So I'm a Peruvian monk.
I didn't meet any monks while I was there, but I am kind of a hermit. So.
Oh, guys, straight line's right. He's literally on the trail right now. You pull over, sit down, and just finish this thing. We'll be done in a while. So, and dude, I'm sorry. I have ADHD.
No, it's all good. I can understand there's lots going on here.
Eric's, what's up? Yo, yo, yo. I'm here, mother lovers. Eric, appreciate your support. Again, I'm celebrating 2 years. Didn't know that this weekend was 2 years of doing mountain bike Q&A, and you guys all over in the comment section. I appreciate you guys so much. Ben, back to you. So Pennsylvania, riding bikes. Obviously, biking has been something that's it's in you. When did that start?
Yeah, I mean, like all little kids, I had a bike. I started out on a Huffy, but it didn't catch me when I was little. I mean, I rode a lot, but it wasn't, part of the fabric of who's been until I joined the Peace Corps right after college. So if you guys don't know what that is, that's a government organization that sends folks abroad for 2 years, and they either teach or do something in some sort of a technical manner. So I got sent to Zambia for a couple years, and my whole transportation was a bike. It was a Trek 3700. And so that was my lifeline to everything, and I loved it. And I was in a car accident while I was in Zambia, where I had to go. I was going somewhere else where I couldn't bike. I live in a really rural area, and it freaked me out. And so that was in my first year. So basically, the whole second year, I didn't ride in cars, and I just rode my bike. So that's where I fell in love with it. That was 20 years ago now, and I've been riding a whole bunch ever since.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I feel like as kids, we all have bikes, and it never really much to me. Did it ever leave you? Like, did you always have a bike in the garage?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I always had a bike, but it wasn't, it was just something that I enjoyed doing. But, like I said, when I got to do it for my mode of transportation, it like sinks into your blood. And it never left my side from then on.
Trail Monster joining. Howdy, man. I did that too. In college, my car broke down. It died. It was done. And bike to class every day, couple miles back and forth. And I mean, literally there's only been a couple years, where bikes haven't been a part of me.
Yeah. Yeah. Once it gets in your bloodstream, it's hard to get out.
I mean, I remember when I first started dating my wife, it was just like, well, you got to know that, like, after work, I always need to ride. I don't know if you did that or
it's progressed over time. Now my wife pushes me out of the house. She's like, "You're super nutty. Get out of here and go on a ride," and try to calm down. Yeah, just
get away from me.
It's time.
Trail Monster, I appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your work day to check us out. Thanks for the support. So, what is the bike scene like in Pennsylvania?
So in the urban areas, it's pretty well defined. Philadelphia has a really thriving community, and so does Pittsburgh. I live about 20 miles away from Harrisburg, and that's up and coming. Where I'm at, my very rural county, we don't have any bicycle shops. If I go out on a 30-mile ride, like once every other month, I see another cyclist. So it's not real developed in my county. Mm-hmm. But I'm around the other areas where, like I live not so far from a little town called Carlisle. And they're moving up. They've done a lot of bicycle infrastructure for a small rural town in Pennsylvania. And so I'm around some places that are really, starting to thrive. My space right here, my little slice of life, there's a couple, but not many.
So we know what we're here for is that you create things out of bike parts, but did you do something before that? Like, what did you go to college for?
Yeah, I went to college,
or what did you study?
I studied psychology. I was pushed to go to college because, if you did well in high school, you go to college. So I went to college. And I enjoyed college and I love the major, but I was really just looking for something general because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So after that, I did Peace Corps, and then I turned out the lights and I stuck around. They let you stay for 2 years, but if you be real quiet, you can kind of stay for a third year because they pay you while you do that. And so I stayed there for a few years. I've traveled around. I taught English in Japan. I built a little cabin, and that's how I felt confident to build this house. And then when my wife and I got together, we then did Peace Corps together in Peru. So after that, I've worked in a couple bike shops because, bikes in the blood.
Yeah.
And most recently, I was working with adults with autism, and so that was really cool.
Oh, wow.
And I was just really excited to try something on my own for once. So yeah, I've done a bunch of stuff. Nothing has stuck more than just a few years, but there's other things that I've brought with me into this, so they've all helped me on my journey.
Yeah, I didn't mean to be like, what'd you go to school for?
No.
What did you go to school to learn? And then you end up, when did the creative side of you kick in? Or have you always been a kid or somebody that's like to create, build, put things together?
Yeah, no, I probably didn't get the creative bug till maybe 10 or 15 years. I was well out of college. And it was probably from just seeing other people do some pretty awesome things that, there's so many things in life that you can only have if you make it, or, that it's not the money in your bank account, it's the cool experiences that you've had. So I saw some folks building some pretty awesome houses and stuff. So they inspired me. So it's probably only been 10 or 15 years. But yeah, it's been strong, and it makes, I call it crank therapy because, riding is part of the thing that keeps me healthy and as sane as I can be, but also it's the creative process that definitely helps with that as well. So every day making something and trying to move something forward and learn something new. Yeah, that definitely is therapy as well.
I think that's great. I mean, anytime I ride and just take a picture, I always tag it #pedal therapy. I'm going to have to crank therapy it because
please do
push you out there. Joey Yates is on here. Yes, he made it live to Q&A segment. Love this guy's journey to get here. So cool.
Thank you.
So you were talking about building your home. Let's back up before we dive into
please
what you do, because I've got some time. I don't know if you do.
I got some time as well. I don't even have a watch, so let's do this.
You live off grid.
We do.
And you built your home.
I did. Yeah.
Tell
well,
me about that process. That's interesting to me.
I did have some help. So, so the seed to plant to build my own home maybe started, again, it was maybe 15, 20 years ago, something like that. I really wanted to build something small that I could, keep in my brain and that I could afford and that I could make. So I had built a cabin and lived in a cabin for a couple of years, pretty small, pretty derelict. But it gave me the confidence of like, I think I can build something that's not going to fall down. So about 10 years ago, my wife, like I said, we started to be big kids and we wanted to build a house. So, we went through the process of trying to figure out what we could do and go. The hardest part was actually not building the house. It was actually figuring out how you get everything permitted. And, there are a lot of standards that you got to conform to that are really helpful in the world. If you don't know them, you got to figure them out somewhere. That was probably the hardest. So I did have a little bit of help. I had somebody help me dig the basement because we do have it's a 20 by 20 house. So we do have a block cinder basement. And I had, I don't know if you can kind of see this behind me. We have a timber frame house. So these are big beams, posts and beams that we have.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's hemlock. It's awesome. And we did have an Amish guy that lived near us. He's the one that helped us cut out all the tenon and mortise joints. So the structural integrity of the house is all, oak pegs and whatnot. So I did have some help in places, but yeah, my wife and I did a lot of it. The other one, shout out, I had an Amish electrician, which is a fun oxymoron sort of. He helped us put in the off-grid system because Amish, they can't be connected to the grid, but if they do have a business, they can have their own large solar system. So he was the best in the area that could come up with a small system. So we got 6 panels, we got a kick-in battery bank, but we are not connected up to the grid. That has its pros and cons. So it took us about 2 years to build our house. And Katie and I did all the work, and we worked really hard to keep the finances down so that we could afford it. And it's just big enough to work. We have us, we got 2 dogs. Katie's got her massage business. We have a little massage studio in the house, and then I get free reign of the basement to create all day.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm done. I've got nothing more. This guy has blown my mind. That's amazing. What possessed you to want to go off grid? I mean, are you totally reliable on solar and like rainwater to bathe in, or?
Well, so yeah, so Actually, I'm a pretty derelict person. So what I was like, my dream was to be just have like a really simple house. So like a composting toilet, a gravity fed water system,
Huh?
have just really the basics on a little bit of electricity so you can do the things. But when we were going through the permitting process, a lot of those things don't fly. So we did have to actually have a well that we dug. Well, we didn't dug it. We had somebody. We
Yeah.
didn't dig it. We had somebody else come in and they dug it about 300 feet down. So we actually do have running water in our house. But what possessed me, I don't know. There are times, like I said, there's pros and cons to being off grid. A pro is it's just awesome. We don't have any bills really. We have to pay our real estate taxes, but we don't have electricity bill. We don't have a water bill. We don't have a refuse bill. We don't have any bills. But at the same time, sun shines a lot in the summer, so we have lots of electricity in the summer, but the sun doesn't shine nearly as much in the winter. So we really have to manage our electricity consumption. And if we don't ration the passion very well, we have a little Honda generator that we can generate a little bit of electricity to get us through the night.
Keep it now that you've talked, and for some reason my wife is watching. Johnny, I like their life. Let's do that. We can't.
It's a lot of fun.
Grid
Never say never.
Squares. So what was it your time in the Peace Corps that kind of made you want to live that way? Or not that it's like I would love to be able to just pick up and go and van life it, to be honest with you. So I would love to be off grid.
But that's what gave me the inspiration. Being there, I lived in a mud hut with a grass thatch roof, no electricity, running water. That was about 50 miles away. And everybody built their own house. They built it out of mud brick that they would go to a termite mound and they would, hoe up the stuff and then they'd bake it in the sun. So they did everything themselves. And I thought,
wow.
They don't have a whole lot of money. And, if they could trade it all for our, what they would call like a Rambo lifestyle where they get all these different things and watch all these movies, they would probably trade it. But from my perspective, I saw that they had some real beautiful simplicity to their life. And so that's kind of what I was chasing. My wife and I, we were looking for something that's a little bit more simple, that we could not only just kind of be at a little bit more peace with ourselves, but also financially, if we lived a little bit more simply, we had a lot more options of what we could do. And so, that's one of the reasons I was able to start CrankTherapy, because we are able to financially make that work as our simple life. So definitely the inspiration was abroad.
You just amaze me every time you open your mouth. What I find interesting is that Pennsylvania, Florida's a different beast. You cannot be totally off grid.
We might not have been able to if we were in a different county. So, it's a double-edged sword. There might not be a lot of cyclists here, but they did allow us to be off grid. But that might not fly in other places in Pennsylvania.
Mr. Trail Pimp, are you using propane?
We do. Good point. So we do have propane for our oven and for our hot water tank. And we did have to have a secondary. We burn mostly wood for our heat. We have a really well insulated house, and we don't need. We burn like a cord of wood. So you people that cut wood, you'll know like a cord is next to nothing. Oh. And it's a small house, well insulated. But we do have a propane backup so that we could adhere to the code. So propane is a big savior.
This is where I didn't warn you earlier, and everybody on the comment knows my train derails. Mennonites are like Amish, but they can use electricity, right?
Yes. The Mennonite are kind of like Amish light. So they can use a little bit of electricity. They can actually own cars. They have to be a certain color and a lot of sex. They will oftentimes go to the same church. They'll often dress similar, but they have a lot of the same values, but they've integrated a little bit more into society so they can have electricity.
Yeah, believe it or not, there's a huge Amish what do you call that? Community.
Yeah.
On the west coast of Florida in Sarasota.
Okay.
Oh, it's amazing. They have there's a restaurant called Yoder's where they make everything. They bake a lot of great, huge pies that are like 6 inches deep. And they're amazing cooks. And they all live in these little houses, probably as big as this room. and it's a
Yeah.
community. You can drive around, and they're all on 3-wheel bicycles.
Oh, sign me up.
It's so fun.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah, it's interesting with the Amish community. They're growing, and so they really can't stay in the same place if they grow. So they have to move out. So like Lancaster is a big hub for Amish folks, but at some point, Amish have to spread out. So they are growing, and I'm guessing they'll be in more places as we keep going.
Trail Pimp. So you have a stick build and not a log cabin. Way better to save heat. Propane is a non-greenhouse gas.
Yeah, so our insulation, they're called SIP panels, structurally insulated panels. So it's basically structural grade foam that's sandwiched with 2 pieces of OSB. And so there's no air pockets. So it's just ridiculous, the amount of insulation. And that wasn't something I was thinking about when I was building the house. Somebody kind of talked me into it, and I am glad they did, because it's really easy to heat.
Okay, enough of that. Mike Mitchell, ladies and gentlemen, has joined the podcast. Run Bike Mike, thank you so much for your support. Mike was one of the first people that actually came on this channel. And
Nice.
Mike, I'm celebrating 2 years as of this weekend. And thank you so much for your support.
Coming back to celebrate.
Okay, so this is leading up to what you do.
Yeah.
You were off grid boy, and you said, I ain't working for no man.
Something like that.
So you started CrankTherapy. Tell me about how you created this.
Yeah. So, it was something that some of my riding buddies and I had called our riding. It's our therapy. It's our time to get out. If we would be out and be social, it's the time to connect with folks. If we're out by ourselves, kind of time to be solitude. So we had called that CrankTherapy for quite a while. And then I thought, well, I'd really like to make some stuff out of recycled goods. So the first things that I made were clocks. So I took the chain rings from, the crank. I took those and I made clocks out of them. I made them with wood, with old road signs, with license plates, with stained glass. It's the license plates that kind of caught on. And so I still make those. That was my first thing. And then I'd always wanted to get into sewing, but it's one of those things where if you don't know how to sew at all, which was me, I knew nothing about it. It's kind of intimidating, actually. Yeah. And so I'd really wanted to, somebody had gifted me, my wife had gifted me a long time ago, a wallet made out of inner tubes. I'm like, that would be the dream if I could make those. Yeah. And so I started fussing around. And as I got into it, I was like, boy, you could really take one of these sewing machines. You might be able to power it with a bicycle. And so that's where my Sew Cycle was born. I was able to power an old sewing machine with an old bicycle, and that's where it was born. So I've made a few of them now. I have one that I affectionately call a Schwinger. It is an old Schwinn connected to an old Singer. And so one of my friends on many of my friends on Instagram said, dude, you got to call that a Schwinger. No debate. And so I've done that. And recently I got a walking foot machine, which if you don't know what that is, basically 2 things will feed your material through. And so it's really helpful with inner tubes, because inner tubes just have a ton of friction to them. And so anything that will help feed, and they're relatively thick. So this is a big industrial machine. And I said, boy, I can't have that without pedal powering it. So I took an old Schwinn spin bike that was actually my spin bike that I found I don't like to ride inside. I was trying to do something over the winter. I'm like, I'd rather freeze outside than sweat inside personally. So it had just been sitting there. So I hooked it up to the machine. And so that's what makes most of the stuff that I make today.
That's where did the first, you were like, I need to make money.
Yeah.
Was there a point where you were working somewhere and you were like, I just don't want to do this anymore? Or
yeah, I was working for a nonprofit, and although I liked the work and I liked the nonprofit, I think at the end of the day, I was meant to do something for myself and tell myself what to do and be able to direct my own energy. Yeah. And so we had saved up quite a bit of money, me doing that and Katie working full time. So that's where I was like, this is the time. I'm not old. I'm 40. I was 40 at the time. I'm like, we can take a chance. And if after a couple of years it doesn't work out, can always go back to work. So we took a chance, and I've been real happy being able to do my own thing. It's not full time yet, but that's the hope someday.
But like, did you wake up in the middle of the night and clocks, chain rings?
No, where? Oh, everything is a gift. I'm the target audience. So my wife's sister, when we got married, sent us a wedding gift, and it was a bicycle clock. And I was like, wow, that's really awesome. So it had stuck in my head since it was a gift that was given to me. And I kind of took it to an extreme. I kind of do that with stuff. So this one was neat. It was with cardboard and fabric. And I was like, that's pretty cool. But I hadn't seen a lot out of hardwood, hadn't seen any out of license plates or stained glass. So I took it and I just kind of ran with it.
I love that, man. You got I have that clock. I probably have the same clock you were gifted.
Yep.
So down in my living room, it's a chain ring with another little.
Yeah, with a pendulum.
Yeah, going down, and that's why I really liked your stuff, because you had the license plate, but it was just that one little spark.
It's that spark. It's that little seed, and then it grew into something a lot bigger than the seed.
And now you've got a swinger.
And now I got a swinger. Yeah, and by the way, I got some stickers coming, and I'm pretty excited about them. They're fancier than what I've done in the past, so I'll send those down to you, and so you can have a swinger sticker on your back wall there.
Yes, spokesman, I love it. He's just like, and then it turns into a robot and controls the world.
Next.
Maddie, what kind of wood do you burn? Hard or soft? Do you have a radiant wood stove? Back to off-grid stuff.
Yeah, good question. So
Ready with the questions.
I generally don't burn softwood. Every once and again I will, and softwood's good to get your fire started, but hardwood's what you want for for like the overnight and to really put out some heat. So we have a lot of basically I only cut what's fallen down, along all of our properties, because stuff falls. The emerald ash borer is big and it's here and it's killing all the ash trees. So, I'm using a lot of ash. So we cut it down, we slice it up, we store it, and it's not I'm not sure I know what a radiant wood stove. It's a Pacific Energy stove. It has a nice little viewing window, so we can just sit there at night and just watch fire, which is one of those things that I think people are just drawn to. And we can bank it overnight. So, if we go to bed, we can put a bunch of wood in it, and 8 hours later when we wake up, we still have a little bit of heat in the house.
Ladies and gentlemen, next on Living Off the Grid and CrankTherapy. Sister's late to the show, but thanks for always being a great sport, my sister, ladies and gentlemen. So hold on, let me do something here.
Yeah.
Let me, son of a, hold on.
Oh.
I told you I'm not good at this. Oh, I'm hitting the wrong button.
I saw it there for a second.
Hitting the wrong button. No, I want to go to Etsy.
Oh,
ladies and gentlemen, I am pulling up his products here, CrankTherapy. We can find this where?
Yeah, that's on Etsy. It's cranktherapy.etsy.com. I'm also on Instagram, and I have everything linked. So, yeah,
we'll pull your Instagram up for the fun stuff, because you
Appreciate
also kill it at creating reels. But right now we're talking about your products.
Yeah.
What are we looking at here? Look at this. He's even got video when you pull it over.
That's fancy. So I have 4 different wallet styles that I make right now, although I hope to expand that in the near future. I have just like a classic bifold. I have what I kind of call a night out card ID holder. I have a, for all the travelers that we have, I have a passport holder that you can put your passport, couple IDs in there, some cash. And then finally, I have a card wallet that you can put a whole bunch of cards in if you're not quite the minimalist, but don't carry a whole lot of cash. So that's what I got now, but I'm excited. A lot of people have asked about clutches and envelope wallets, so maybe something that's more not just dude heavy. So I'm excited a little bit later. Right now I'm doing several events, so that's what I'm focusing on, but after that I'm super stoked about developing a bunch of new stuff, and they're all lined with recycled bottle fabric, fabric that's made out of used plastic bottles. So it's like really there's a lot of colorful fabrics in the interiors.
Yeah, you were posting those with the. Where are you? Come on, CrankTherapy. Come on. I lost you somehow. So upsetting. I'm so bad at this.
That's the product. If you click on it, it'll probably go close to my page.
There you
Although,
go.
yeah.
Look at that. He's making these out of. Now, talk to me about the inner tubes. Are you rummaging through bike shop dumpsters?
Hey, I have been known to dumpster dive for sure.
Hey,
But
wow.
in
You
this
have to pay
case,
bills.
a lot of the shops set them aside for me because they don't have a use. Once you get a hole that's too big in them, they're not patchable, or once the valve stem breaks off. So a lot of shops are happy to just give them to me. I have a couple nonprofits that I really love working with that I volunteered with a lot. Shout out to Recycle Bicycle in Harrisburg. They give me a lot of tubes, and Life Cycle in Carlisle, both of which I've volunteered at, and they keep all their tubes for me so that and they get a lot of tubes. So it's great.
This is all. Hold on, I'm pulling this back up again, and it's for some reason it's not. Oh, you know what it is? There we go. Oh, Lord, I had the wrong thing up, folks. Don't give a monkey a computer. He doesn't know what he's doing. How do I get to crank therapy? There we go.
Yeah, if you click, there's a little
It
thing that says Crank Therapy underneath all the descriptions, underneath the pictures, and maybe if you
Yeah. Okay.
or if you type into the
There we go. Crank therapy. Boom. But then it opens up a new window and I lose you.
Oh.
So weird. Anyhow, I'll get them back up. But what I want to do, the passport thing, I can tell you right now, my wife is on Etsy right now. She just loves, when we travel, she just loves putting stuff.
Oh, it's great. I had a really rinky-dink version when I was traveling that fell apart. I think these are going to last a long time. They're really nice. They can keep all your junk that you like to carry around, and it keeps it all with you. And there's really no metal in it, so a lot of times you can kind of keep it with you if you're nervous about things happening. You can keep it all in one spot.
I love the wallets too. But like I told you, the card holder thing, it's great for travel because I always just put your license, a credit card, your health or medical, whatever.
Just
because I always put cash in my pocket when I'm traveling.
Yeah. Well, one's coming your way. I got it sent out. I think Labor Day might have held it up a little bit, but I look forward to it's on its way, so it should be there soon, I hope.
That's so much. I told you I like to buy the stuff, and I will. So
and I like to give it as much as
Steve's got us buy the stuff. Steve is shopping. Oh boy, Ben. You better have some stuff in stock because Steve is looking to add to his bike cave.
Nice. Well, thank you, Steve.
Cog is in the house, but thank you. Hit the like button if you're watching, guys. Appreciate that. Let me pull this up. Let me pull your so people can see what we're talking about when you're pedaling.
Oh yeah. So you're clicking on, this is my mobile schwinger that I'm making to take out to events. So it's smaller than my other ones. And I specifically made it so I put all my gears and stuff out front so people can kind of see it and interact with it. Some of my other ones, some of the internal mechanisms hid in the way. But yeah, this is my mobile schwinger. I think somebody came up with porta schwinger, and I like that. So this is going to be my porta schwinger.
The porta schwinger. Uncycled. Here's more of the wallet stuff.
Yeah. And it shows the bright fabric here in just a second. There it goes.
I'm sorry. I'm going to remove this real quick. I got to talk to you. You said that you weren't good at sewing at one point.
6 months ago, I had never sewn a thing in my life.
Shut the front door when you're talking to me.
Maybe it's a little bit longer than 6 months, but I think I first started sewing something. It's been less than a year. So you can go from zero to, I'm not saying I'm a sewing hero, but it sounds nice. You can go from knowing not a whole lot to really being able to dial things in a relatively short amount of time, and with a lot of help from YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. But with the wallet stuff, I mean, you said you woke up in the middle of the night and said, wallets, inner tubes.
Yeah. Well, I had been gifted an inner tube wallet by my wife about 10 years ago.
Again with the gifts.
It's all the gifts, so I'm the target audience. And I rolled that for about 10 years until I made my own. And I just, it's nice because as we're all cyclists, and it's a nice way to connect with the bike when you're off the bike. You get a lot of comments on it like, oh, that's an interesting one. Or people don't even notice and they go, oh, that's kind of a nice leather wallet, because the inner tube kind of wears in like a leather wallet does. So yeah, I think they're great.
I was going to say, do you put the inside of the tube on the outer? Is there a difference? Because does it stick to your
there is a difference. There is a difference in an inner tube, the inside and the outside. Yeah. So generally, in a lot of inner tubes, they put talcum powder on the inside. I think that helps to keep friction down. And I think it helps with punctures. And people, old school cyclists, used to put a lot of talcum powder all over. It just helps to kind of keep everything from sticking, like you said. Now, I put what we would see as the outside of the tube on the outside of the wallet, and like I said, after a little bit, it like wears super, super smooth. So it doesn't stick to your butt or anything. It comes out just like a normal leather wallet does. But yeah,
I had a brain fart, if you will. When you were creating this, did you say, okay, I'm going to just what was your first creation of the wallet? Was it a wallet, or was it just
it was a terrible looking bifold. Because the bifold's probably one of the easier ones to make, and it looks like a wallet. So I made one, and God love me, I kept it for a couple months. It really kind of sucked. But I've made a lot from them, but that was my first thing. I'm like, I'm going to make just a super straightforward bifold, but I've changed the design up a little bit. My first one was very simple because there's a lot of variables I didn't understand. And now mine's a little bit fancier. I can put like a little piece of billboard, because all the billboards these days are made out of vinyl. And so when they take them down, they just get chucked. So a lot of recyclers like myself will get a big billboard that will last for a long time. And so I cut out little sleeves and I can put them in there, and it's a whole bunch of fun.
I'm just super impressed at and I know you were like doing it. I need to make a buck, but the fact that you stepped ahead. Oh, sorry. What's up, bike nerds? We have New Zealand in the house watching you now.
Oh, snap. Welcome, New Zealand.
Dr. Dad. Thank you, brother. Marty, what's going on? But again, you just went ahead and did it. It's people like you that like, what am I doing?
Well, that's the thing. You just got it. As somebody once said, it's the art of the start. You got to get started and then you take it from there. And a lot of times we can put that idea of starting and just have it in our head for years and not do anything. So it's the art of the start. Get started. You don't know what you're doing, but it's fine. You'll figure it out.
What was your first creation? Hold on. What was it? The clocks?
The clocks were my first bicycle themed creation. Yep. And then the wallets came next.
Okay, so let me scroll through here, folks. You've got to see his products. That's why you're here, and that's why I'm doing this, is to showcase. Look.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I have the state license plates. I really love to make, and they seem to be some of the more popular. So now I have all 50 states on there, except for South Carolina. It's hard to find South Carolina for me.
I think that's the first time I've ever commented. I saw your stuff is that you were posting something and you said something about what state, and I said Florida, and you had commented back. Now look at these folks. Look at that. I can't even show it to you because it pops up a new window. Look at this one.
A lot of hardwoods I like to use. I get a lot of offcuts from real carpenters and real woodworkers. They kind of give me some of their scraps. And so, I have a lot of hardwoods. I have a lot of stained glass that comes. Actually, the stained glass factory is right on an amazing bike trail that goes from Pittsburgh to DC. It's 320 miles long, and that glass factory is right on the trail. I mean, right on. Like you can throw a stone while you're riding past it and hit the glass factory, which you shouldn't do, but you could.
What is that? Totally off the subject. We're going to lose viewers big time. my family, my mother's side, my mother is from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
When we were kids, this means kids in sign language. I don't mean to offend anybody, but
gotcha.
When we were little, we would do some like stand by me walk. My father and my sister and I, my brother wasn't.
Yes.
And there was this bridge. It was like a stand by me bridge. You know that set where they're running and they're trying to get away from.
Yep.
It was an old rickety bridge. Folks, hold on. It was an old rickety bridge. And my dad would actually have to step on each
Yeah, each of the
The wooden,
the wooden trestles. I'm not sure what
yeah.
they're called. Yeah.
And when I got older, I asked my mom, was that because it seemed like it was 100 feet high and you saw brown river water.
It probably was.
I asked my mom later in life, I said, was that dangerous? She goes, yeah, that was really high up. And my dad,
Yeah.
long story short, we would go end up at a glass manufacturing place that was abandoned. And there were
Okay.
these big chunks of broken glass. And since it was broken, it was greenish tinge.
Really? I,
And
I I wonder if that was like industrial kind of glass where they'd make them for like telephone poles or whatnot.
yeah, I think it was. I think it was for those the glass
Yeah,
things.
the insulators. Yeah.
But the big piece, and we'd come back. Sorry, folks. I just got on a tangent, but he was talking about glass factories in Pennsylvania, and it just brought back memory.
Yeah, no, there's a few. This one, they specialize in Tiffany reproduction glass, which is, I think they're the only ones in the country that do it. And they don't really have much of a connection to the bicycle path. They're not, they're not cyclists, but it's right there. So I want to give a little plug. If you are in the Pennsylvania region, if you've never heard of the C&O Canal Path Trail, or the the Gap Trail, Great Allegheny Passage. It goes from Pittsburgh to DC. My wife and I have ridden it maybe 4 or 5 times. It's over 300 miles long, all off. It's on a trail, so it's away from cars. It's amazing, worth a week of your life. Go do it.
I was thinking about what trail that was that takes you from Pennsylvania to DC.
Yeah, so the Gap does the first part. It's an old railroad bridge or old railroad bed. It goes from Pittsburgh to Cumberland, Maryland, and then the old C&O Canal Trail. So it's a little rougher. It used to be an old canal, and that goes from Cumberland to DC. And that one's actually owned and maintained by the National Park Service, and so they have campsites. Both trails are amazing.
You are a recyclist. Yes, my sister is confirming. They were insulators. I was 3 years younger, so I was still eating crickets back then. I wasn't very bright. So let's. You're a cyclist.
I'm a cyclist.
First and foremost, you love biking. We talked about it. You're not like crazy mountain biker.
Yeah, I like the mellow trails. I mean, again, I got into mountain biking. I had a Trek 3500, and that's what I rolled the wheels off of, basically. And in Zambia, they're all dirt roads. You were lucky to find a dirt road. So it's basically all like real flowy single track that they didn't use as single track. They walked on them. And double track if you're real lucky. And so the first few years of my cycling life, it was really commuting. But, as I look back on it, it was like, perfect dirt.
Perfect dirt. But being off grid, do you own a car or is biking your main?
I do own a car, but biking is my main source of transportation. I was a pretty big holdout on e-bikes. I was maybe a smidge judgy, and that has come around back to bite me. And I've built myself an e-bike, and I love that thing. So anybody that's like not quite on the e-bike trail, if you're into commuting, it makes 100 billion times tons of sense. And I can see where if you're mountain biking, or it's probably a hot topic, it can make any bike ride a whole lot of fun as well.
No, yeah. I went out to Sky Park with a couple of these kids over the comment section, and they got me an e-bike, and it makes sense.
Yep.
Unless you really want to get the exercise and the workout and you're doing it. But if you just want to play downhill, take the easy way up and have fun downhill. What kind of commuter bike do you have? The e-bike?
So I made what I call an e-check. So I took an old Surly Crosscheck that I had, and I put a Bafang motor on, and so I call it my e-check. I haven't seen many others like it, and it's a blast. I get probably 25 miles out of a charge, and so it's just enough. Like I said, I'm about 10 miles from anywhere, and so it can get me there and get me back.
Get me back. I bought my wife a commuter e-bike, and I think I use it more than her. But just because I'm so close, I'm like a few blocks away from the downtown of where I live, and I hop on it, go pick up food, and it's electric. Literally, the brand is electric.
Oh, right.
So I bought it because it's got a seat on the back as well, so she can hop on the back and we can go. And
They're great. They're
anybody who
tons of
doesn't like
fun.
an e-bike, come on, man.
Just give it a shot.
Oh God, next is e-gravel.
It's coming.
Runs on old bike, runs on old Schwinn Exercycle. Yes.
Yes. Nailed it. Yep. So Schwinn and their exercise bikes have been around for a long time. The great thing about an exercise bike is it comes already standing up. So it's like its own little power unit, and you don't have to figure out how to make it stay upright. Just connect a chain and a pulley to it, and you're good to go.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. This is you talking. We don't want to see you talking. We want to see, look at, oh, guys, here he is. Folks, I'm putting him on Instagram right now and showing, look at this one.
So that one's that's my industrial one. And it also has a Schwinn. It was a Schwinn spin bike, a little newer. I was going new school on that one.
Now how many of these quote unquote swingers have you made and own?
So I've made 4 now. I made one out of an old Chinese cobbler. So that was to make shoes. It was a really cheap one. So that was my first one, just to see if the concept worked. Then my next one was a Schwinger. It was an old Schwinn exercise bike with a Singer 66. And then the one that you're looking at right now, that one is actually a Consew walking foot, one of the heavier ones that you can sew leather and inner tubes out of. And then I just recently made my Porta Schwinger, and that's again out of an old Schwinn exercise bike. And this one's a smaller Singer. It's a Singer 99, kind of like the little brother of the 66. So I've made 4 of them. And, I get a lot of comments. Could you put a how-to video? So someday when I get my stuff together, I'm going to make a how-to video, because I think there's a lot of folks out there that are drawn in. They like cycling, they like sewing, and they'd like to combine the two. So someday.
Okay, so you burn about 6,000 calories a day. You eat half a cow just to
So it's surprisingly easy, actually. It doesn't take a lot of energy to get these things going. I'd like to say that I exercise all day while I'm sewing these things, but it's actually pretty easy. It's just like it would be like pedaling downhill. It's so easy.
Oh, okay. And now hold on, let me go back to that one. I've got to ask you a question about what you're doing with your leg here. I think it's one where hold on, it's not that one. It's
maybe not that one.
Where was it? You were bumping your leg.
Yeah,
we lost it, folks.
Go up a little bit. It'll say part 4. I talk a lot about it in part 4. Yeah, that one right there.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. This is where you talk about it. I didn't listen.
Yeah. So it is that thing right there. It raises the presser foot, but you can do it with your knee. So that means that both your hands can be free to guide the material through. And when you want to raise the presser foot so that you can turn your stuff at a 90 degrees, but yeah, it was right there. So you can turn your material at 90 degrees and it's not pressed down against the feed dogs. I can do it with my knee now. But the problem was they're looking at somebody sitting in a chair and my knees always moving. Oh, there's the dogs. My knees are always moving up and down. So I put a big old board on it. So now I can hit it anywhere in my cycling loop.
Okay. So you're just upsetting me now. Because it's one of those things where like you didn't know, but you figured it out. And even with the knee thing, you're like, okay, I've got to figure that out. You're a problem solver.
Necessity is the mother of invention, right? Isn't that what they say?
Yeah. Or look at this. You even deck it out.
I wanted to pimp that one out, no doubt. That's one I have. I don't use that one in as much anymore. I love it, but I've put it. That one's on display at the Carlisle Antique Mall, and I have a little display booth there where I'm selling some stuff. So that one you can actually go and check out for yourself if you're ever in Carlisle, PA.
Folks, and if you're on Spotify, go to CrankTherapy on Instagram. We're pulling up some of his reels showing off his Schwingers, his sewing machine / bicycle / sewing machine. Now, I've seen you with these displays out here. Do you do a lot of festivals? Do you do a lot of traveling in order to get your name out there and get the product out there?
So that's the plan for the first couple of years. Eventually, I want to just basically be a hermit at home and connect with people online and be able to sell either through wholesale or through my Etsy site. But I really like getting out, and people really like interacting with the cycles and with the swingers. So I just built a really portable one that I have. I think I have 7 events coming up here in the next couple months.
Wow.
So connect with me on Instagram if you're in the area and you'd like to connect up at one of these places. And I'm developing a really easy keychain that you can sew. And so, if you come up and ask real nice, I'll let you sew on the cycle.
Wow. So it's interactive. We can go, or people can go and
yeah.
Man.
Yeah, because so many people come in and it's actually really easy to sew. So if you've never sewn before in your life and you just want to do a straight line, no problem. You can do it right out of the gate. So, my hope is that I inspire people to sew a little bit because that's a lot of fun. You can mend stuff or be creative. But also, it's just a whole lot of fun to jump on an old exercise bike that's connected to a sewing machine and make something. So I hope to have that available for folks when they see me at these events.
Claudia Hurtado. I'm not doing the last name thing, but thank you. Like and subscribe. That's genius. How do you come up with these ideas?
So if you ride a lot, lots of weird stuff come out of your brain. And that's, there's been times in my life where I'm riding a couple hours a day. And that's, all my good ideas have been while out riding.
That's, and hold on a second. Spokesman Steve. He's got a lot of good ones tonight, but have you ever been approached or sued by Schwinn or Singer
or Wayne's World?
Wayne's World for Schwinger?
No, I haven't, but I'd love to. That would be good publicity. I don't think Schwinn is right now a shell of Schwinn. It used to be the go-to bicycle manufacturer in the United States up until the mid '90s when they went bankrupt. So they're only in name only. They don't care. Singer is something similar. They're not quite the shell. I mean, they're still a great company. Their sewing machines seem to have changed. So I have old ones from the 50s that just seem bomb-proof. And Wayne's World, if you want to come after me, that'd be great.
That'd be great.
I love Wayne's World.
It'd be great because it'd be good.
Good advertising.
I've got right here, Octodad in New Zealand, Marty. Wants to know the prices here. We got 25 for the bifold.
Yeah, I think.
And look how stylish is that.
Pretty affordable. I think they're pretty nice. I've been looking at some other folks, and I think that they're right up there with. My goal right now is to make the nicest wallets that I can possibly make. That's my goal.
Yeah, and then you got the ID holder and the passport. I mean, $25 for a wallet. I mean, that's just what you pay for a wallet. You can pay way more than that.
Oh yeah. And it comes, yeah.
Talk to me about the clocks.
So
I mean, do you just scrap, or do people send you?
So at first I was just doing Pennsylvania because I live in Pennsylvania. It's easier to get Pennsylvania license plates. So people go to garage sales or estate sales, or, just license plates come to you. So that's kind of how I started. But I was like, boy, there's a lot of people from other states that would be interested. So there is a weird gray market on the internet, of all places, where you can buy any license plates that you want. But here's the interesting thing that I had no idea. There is a value to license plates, and each state is different. So for example, New Mexico, really hard to get. If you're going to buy one, those are pretty expensive. California, super cheap. So there's an interesting, weird secondary gray market. And I think there are some states that regulate how you can use a license plate, and they want it back. And so to get some of those is pretty tricky.
Wow. And I'm looking over here, you've got rotors.
Yeah. I think they look really neat with some stained glass and different contrasting items behind them.
Oh, so how you're putting that stained glass there? I wish I could blow this up, but then I lose it.
Yeah. So stained glass that I've taken and I've affixed to the rotors or chain rings or whatever I find that's in a circular motion. And then the hardest part of that is glass doesn't like to be cut in a circle. It really likes to be straight lines. So I got this really handy circle jig and able to cut those out. And then drilling the hole is hard, but again, it's one of those necessities, the mother of invention. And somebody has figured out there's these little hole drill bits that you can get. Tons of fun.
Wow. There's Maryland. That's where I'm from.
Ah, all right. Maryland is one of the hardest states to get their license plates from.
And you know why? I'm going to say it because we have one of the prettiest license plates
It has
out
the
there.
flag, right?
It has the beautiful flag. Where'd it go? Of course, I lost it. I don't know.
Every, it's a fun Maryland thing. People love the flag, but if you're not from Maryland, you're like, flag what?
Yeah, people everywhere else go, what's the deal with Maryland and their flag? Like everything. And it happened after I left.
Okay.
Maryland became flag crazy. And
Yeah.
there's a whole thing where there's a whole website where you can buy everything Maryland. It's crazy. So this is stained glass.
Stained glass.
This
Yep.
purple one here in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. And all those ones that you're kind of are in your shot now, those are all stained glass. So all the really, really colorful ones are stained glass.
Okay, so I've also seen on your Instagram. Hold on, let me catch up here over to the side. Can you make me an ass man, New York? My wife. Come on.
That's a Seinfeld reference, right?
Yeah, my sister. Yes, it's the prettiest flag in Maryland. Maryland has a busy flag. Yeah, because it's pretty. It's pretty.
Yeah.
Great party at Ocean City, Maryland, Jamaica City. Yeah, Jamaica, USA. Okay, back to your stuff. You also have you have more than just what I saw on Etsy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still make the yoga mat strap?
I have not made them for a little bit because shipping them was hard. But I still make them. So if you find me at an event, I should have some yoga mat straps.
Okay. And again with the events, do you just find them?
Well, now
area, or when you're in the area, you're like, oh, there's a art event or a biking event, or
so now I'm lucky enough that people suggest events, and I've been at a few cycling events, and so they invite me to more, which is great. So, but I also look for them around the region. I try not to go much further than maybe 30 miles away. Trying to keep it kind of local, and I'm not sure my car would go further than 30 miles, so I got to keep it kind of close. So yeah, I look for them, and what I'm specifically looking for, I'm early enough that I want to get my product into the hands of people, even if they're not going to purchase it, and I want to see how they interact with it. I want to see what they think of it, what their eyes do. So getting to these events is just it's like gold for me. I really enjoy connecting with people, and I really like getting that product reviews, in real time.
yeah, I was going to say, how do you? I don't need you to pat yourself on the back or anything, but how are your products received at these events and stuff? Do they, especially when they get to be interactive and get on the Schwinger?
So it depends on the event. If it is a pretty traditional craft event, they'll be kind of excited about the Schwinger. They'll look at the clocks and they'll go, oh, that's kind of interesting. I've never seen that. But the wallets, for whatever reason, it takes them a while to click through what's going on, because they go, it's a bicycle inner tube, but it looks like a leather wallet. And so for non-cyclists, it takes them a few minutes to be like, oh. And it'll click. But cyclists, they go, oh, yeah, inner tube's the thing that I ride my bike with. Oh, that's awesome. So they're really well received among cyclists, and amongst other people, it takes them a little bit to catch up.
And the wallets, I mean, do you find the clocks, I mean, are friggin' fantastic.
Thank you.
Look at these. I mean, they really are artistic, especially with this glass here.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you like the glass ones.
Yeah, I really like the glass ones. Folks, I'm pushing the glass ones. If you have time, go to Etsy and get the glass. They're just beautiful. And, that's reasonable. I mean, that's stainless glass.
Yeah.
It's a piece of artwork, really.
Well, really, that glass, there's a lot of different stained glass out there. And there's maybe only 5 manufacturers in the United States, but this is specifically this glass company. They specifically go for Tiffany stained glass art. So they are really looking to make some really beautiful stained glass in and of itself. So my job's easy. I just cut it up and put it together with some different stuff, but it's gorgeous glass.
Now, this is your job. This is your livelihood, right?
This is what I'm hoping. I'm still in the development stage, but that's my hope.
But And how often do you do this? Do you create per order, or you're just constantly kicking it out and putting it off to the side, hoping someone's going to buy it, or are you disciplined?
That's what I'm doing right now. I am making them, and so whatever you see has already been made, and so I can ship it out basically that day. And then if the inspiration strikes somebody and they have a different idea of what they'd like to see in something that is in my wheelhouse, then I can make something kind of more custom to that person. But right now I'm trying to create every day. You know, it's like riding every day is important for my mental health. Well, it seems like creating a little bit every day is important as well. So I'm down there in my basement, which, you know, it's funny. My basement was an afterthought. I was like, I just want to build the house, build it the easiest way possible. Pure foundation is going to be the way I do it. I know how to do that. Then my wife said, "You're being an idiot. Make a basement." And now it's where I spend all of my time.
So you are disciplined. Every day you wake up, you have your coffee, you play with the dogs, you watch Price is Right, and then you go downstairs.
Yep. And I would like to get into, you know, my routine changes a little bit every day, you know, whether I'm making wallets or I'm developing something or whatnot. But my hope is that every day I'm down, you know, just sewing for, you know, I love making the clocks, but there is something weird about sewing. It's like it's meditative in and of itself. And I didn't know this before I started, like, just like cycling, you can go out and you can be in your own world and you come back with a clear head, or, you know, it does something extra to you, and sewing does the same thing. So I hope someday to just, you know, be in a space where I can just go down, sew for a few hours and just kind of get in that zone.
Says every man. And maybe be your own personal ASMR. You hear that tick, 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 tick. I remember growing up, my mom would be sewing something, and you just tick, 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 tick.
It is. It's that tactile feel to everything, and everything that I have. You know, I'm a very analog kind of a guy. I like to be able to see it and see how it works. So, like, the thing that draws me to a bicycle is you see it and you go, "Oh, that thing's connected to that thing." Whereas, like a car, it's also kind of analog, but, you know, they hide a lot of the stuff so that you don't see the engine turning, the crankshaft turning this. But that's what drives me to sewing machines as well. It's all right there. It's all real tactile. So, you know, that's something that just sucks me in.
Now, is everyone different? I mean, I know do you have a template, if you will, that you cut everything out of, or is it just freehand? I don't
That's
know.
a great question. So I started not knowing either, and I came to the realization pretty quick, if I want to make consistent things. So I take there's a couple different ways to do it. The easiest way for me, because I already work with wood, is I take really thin pieces of wood and I cut them out into my template, and then I use that cutter. I put that template over my tubes, and I can cut the exact same tube the exact same way so that everything comes out very standardized, so that I can keep my level of quality up. Yeah. Other people use pieces of plexiglass or some sort of clear item. So that's also nice. I just don't have any. I don't work with that very much. And if I get real fancy someday, the leather workers out there, they actually will make a cutting template that they can get made somewhere to their specifications. And then they have a press that they can cut it out with just a hit of the press.
What, sorry, don't mean to do that. I just thought I heard somebody coming through my.
Yeah.
It might be somebody delivering something. Sorry, I saw my ring go off. Okay. I've had a bike stolen, and I had.
Go protect your bikes if that's what's happening.
No, but once I had I had the ring on my phone off, the volume down, everything. The guy picked a great day to steal a bike. I had my ringer off, and I couldn't hear the ring going off. Anywho, back to how many wallets can you get out of a tube?
But you know, I don't know the answer to that question, but I can guess. If it's a bifold, I can probably, and most of my tubes are 26-inch tire tubes, so old school mountain bike, and they're great because they're a little bit bigger than road tires. So out of a 26-inch tube, I can probably get 3 bifold wallets in total.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It was food. ladies and gentlemen, no bikes
Okay.
or anything's getting stolen. My wife ordered food.
If
It was Uber.
I have had a bike leave my possession that I thought was stolen. I was able to get it back, but the mental anguish that creates. Yep.
So 26-inch, 3 wallets.
Yeah. And so if it's smaller, somebody's asking about the BMX wallets. I do get BMX tires, tubes, and they're generally big enough, but you get less. You probably would get maybe 2 out of a 20-inch tire.
Steve is killing it tonight. He wants a valve on his
Presta.
wallet. He wants a Presta valve on his wallet.
Yeah, maybe someday. I've never made one with the valve, but I like the idea. Creativity.
No, the Izzo did not get stolen. It's all my bikes are locked away. I just saw somebody walk in my thing. We're all good. That's amazing. So you get your stuff not dumpster diving from bike shops will help you out.
Yeah, they're awesome.
You hook these kids up with wallets?
Yes. Yeah. And the other, I want a full disclosure. Some of my other stuff actually old inner tubes from like farm implements. So I live in a very rural area, and there is a tire company. So most cars now, they don't have inner tubes in them.
Yeah.
But farm implements do have a lot of tubes in them, and the tubes are a little bit thicker. So sometimes I'll want a thicker tube or a bigger tube. The biggest tubes that I get from mountain biking, if they're big, they're really thin. So I do use some. They're not car inner tubes. They're probably garden tractor. Yeah. So I do use some of those. And those are going straight in the dumpster. So I was really there's a local tire shop that's really nice and hooks me up.
Do you enjoy what you do? I mean, seriously, like some of us work for the man. And some of us do the daily grind, counting numbers and doing
been there.
You're actually,
I love it.
One of those people that get to just wake up in the morning and go, I get to do something that I created for a living.
Yeah. And bigger for me is I get to direct my energy. We all have our own little personal quirks. And when somebody else would tell me what to do, even if it's a great idea, I don't want to do it. I want to do what I want to do, whatever that is. And so every morning I get to get up and be able to direct myself to do whatever. So if today my interest is in sewing a lot of stuff, I get to jump on the sew cycle and sew a lot of stuff. If today my interest is in making clocks, or maybe my interest is in creating a reel, I get to choose that. And that means everything to me.
Oh, that's great. And your wife, you get to spend time with your wife because she's at home worker as well, right?
Yeah, she also teaches at Hack, which is our local community college. There's a wonderful massage program there. And so she's one of the teachers there. So she gets to do both. She loves both. So yeah, I get to spend a lot of time with my wife, get to spend a lot of time with the dogs, and it's great.
The dogs. Steve says, Ben, I absolutely love what you're doing. You're making great stuff and enjoying yourself while doing it. Yes, the world needs more Bens, or we at least need to learn from Ben.
Wow. Thanks. I don't know about all that. I still have my my eccentricities, but I do really enjoy what I'm doing, and I hope I get to keep doing it and being on podcasts and sharing through Instagram. That's thank you.
Now, back to this junk. No, just are you receiving? I can't talk, folks. You got to know what day I've had. It was the most crazy day. Are the wallets selling, or do you find that the let me back this up again.
Yeah. So what's the most popular?
Yeah. What are the wallets selling, or what's selling the most? What's receiving well?
My Pennsylvania license plate clocks seem to sell the well. And specifically, there's a bunch of different versions, like the one that we're looking at now, that's the modern version. But in the 70s, there was a kick-ass license plate that had a Liberty Bell on it.
Oh, wow.
And that only happened for a few years, only in the 70s. And they're hard to find, but I was lucky enough to find a bunch of them. I don't know if I have one listed because they sell pretty quickly once I list them. Those have been the thing that just draws people in, because Pennsylvania, we love our Liberty Bell. And it's a solid blue with yellow letterings, just super classic. That one's been by far and away just the most popular one. If I take it to an event, I maybe only have a couple, and I always sell those ones first off.
Where is it on your page? What number? No, I'm just kidding.
It might. I do have a few extra ones, but if one sells, I have to make another one, so it might not be listed right now.
I'm really drawn to this green. I can't pull it up because if I pull it up, it just takes me to another window and it messes me up.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that green. It's like it's just flowing. It's like water.
So that's an interesting piece of glass. So when the factory that makes the glass, if you kind of peek around the corner and you ask real nice, you can watch them sort of making glass. And it comes in these large sheets. And so when they want to send the glass to a stained glass shop or somewhere, they want to have it in a perfect square or rectangle. They want to have perfect dimensions. But on the end, kind of like a muffin top, a little bit extra will be there. And so if you look at that green one and you see it's kind of smooth on top, that is the extreme edge of a large piece of stained glass that they've cut off, that they're not going to ship to, the stained glass shops. Is kind of like the muffin top of glass. So
you left it showing because it's a nice piece of edged.
Because I think that's super cool. Yeah.
You're like, I think it's super cool.
Yeah, you got to make stuff that you like as well. So I make stuff just that I like, and if nobody else likes it, well, I like to make it. So
you're like, enough. I made it.
Yeah.
Come on, let me get this back up. Come on. Oh, hit that button, idiot! Bag of rocks over here. You even make signs, like little signs here.
Yeah. So this one's out of an old bicycle rim, and then I put a piece of barnwood in it, and this one I had made. I don't use it that much, but I have a scroll saw that I attached to a bicycle, and that was bicycle powered. But this one was for a friend. I do make some of them, but they're a little harder to ship. So I have a bunch of them. Again, if you're in the area, go check out the Carlisle Antique Mall. I have a bunch of the bigger signs and clocks and things there that you can check out. So
that's a rim from a bike.
That's an old bicycle rim. Yeah, that one specifically was a 20-inch BMX bike, and then those are old Colorado. The new Colorado, beautiful license plate, but the old one, reverse colors, just an amazing, one of my top 10 favorite license plates. And so that's an old Colorado license plate.
Did we get to see your beautiful wife in that too?
She was in there.
Look at that one.
So that was a big live edge cherry clock. That was one of my first clocks that I ever made, and my wife commandeered it, and she said that one can never leave the house. So I do have a couple the really big live edge ones in Carlisle. So, and also shout out to Kickstand Culture in New York. They got a couple. So there's a few that are up there in their wonderful bike shop near Buffalo.
That, folks, if you can see that right now, we're looking, if you're on Spotify, go to his Instagram, just scroll around on his Instagram. He's got, so can you make to order, like say, this sign? Because I don't see any of this stuff on your Etsy.
Yeah, so again, it's the shipping got a little weird with me, and they're harder to keep. They take up a lot of space. I only have so much space, so I have not put them on Etsy so much. But if somebody's interested in something like the hiking guy, or I plan to someday. The national parks have a lot of really cool symbols, like a hiking symbol, a cycling symbol, a kayaking symbol, all those things that we enjoy doing out in the great outdoors. I hope to make a series of those someday with barnwood and old bicycle rims. It
would be great if you would just slow this video down for a second on your Instagram. No, just kidding. Look at this, folks.
And I love old Schwinn.
Differently than, you're taking a license plate, cutting out the word Schwinn.
That took a while. Yeah, that was for a friend that loves Schwinns, and he loved the old Schwinn logo. They've changed several times, just the real thin line Schwinn logo from the 60s and 70s, and that's what he wanted for his bike shop. So that one's
beautiful stuff. And this stuff obviously probably just comes to you as you go, because you said you don't really ship this stuff anymore.
I don't as much, but if anybody's interested, we can always make it happen. So what's really caught my brain in the last couple months is the sewing. So, I still make all this stuff. I just don't, I don't know if I put it on Etsy in just the right way to entice people. So maybe that's something I got to work on.
Look at that specialized thing. I could tell you, it's segment Mark Hill. You need a YT hanging over your. You need to get him to make you a YT one. Hang over in the back of your podcast, Mister. There you go. This stuff is great. I've totally lost. I've just been in the zone talking to you, which is weird.
I've just been having a blast.
That spokesman is killing it tonight. I'm not even going to say that for. I'm just guessing, but probably the size of chain ring. I'm looking here. I'm looking at the. You scrolled past the dog. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have, our fluff,
here we
fluff
go.
friend. So that was one day. Because I'm down in the basement all morning, and then I really just come up for lunch. He knows that whenever I come up from the basement, it's time for him to get fed. And so now, if I get lost, like I come up and I'm in my own head and I want to edit a reel, he says, "No way, Dad. Got to feed me first."
Well, now, which one is this?
This one's Badger. He came with us from Peru. He was a mountain street mutt, luckiest street mutt I think there could be, and he's a pampered little pooch. And he came home with us.
Okay, Trail Pimp, if you're still on here is his wood burner stove.
Yep, and that's my morning ritual. Starting up the stove.
Look at you! You do everything with your hands. You're just bothering me now. I'm starting to feel inept. Feel like I'm not good enough anymore.
Oh no, it's all with my hands. And
look at all again. We're not on his Etsy, but we're on his Instagram right now.
Oh, you're going back in time now.
Clocks, signs.
It's amazing. Sometimes I'll fix up bikes, or a lot of those. I made some bike racks out of some reclaimed wood. That's at in Pittsburgh, Bicycle Heaven. If you're in the region of Pittsburgh, get to Bicycle Heaven. Really cool place. Tons of Schwinn, tons of old stuff, a lot of art in there. Really cool place.
This is great. Now, you bought this on eBay, right? This thing, or Amazon?
Yeah. So that was the reel that really started to make things happen. So that's a Chinese cobbler. It's a knockoff of an old shoe patcher. And so now, the patent ran out long ago, or maybe China doesn't care about that. And you can get one of these on Amazon for $130. And it was my first one. I made this out of all, just junk I had laying around. And I just wanted to see, would it work? Can you do it? I had no idea. And this is what proved the concept.
Okay. So let me clear my brain. So much information and so much amazing stuff that is coming from your head and is ending up in people's hands. It's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot to swirl around up here. And so, I call it CrankTherapy because one of the things is I can get a lot of that out on my bike rides. I can think about things and just kind of come to a little bit, clear my head.
Wow. I'm really in awe with you right now. I'm sorry. You're really doing some great stuff. I'm impressed. Feeling a little inadequate right now that I can't do. It took me 2 months to build this, and it
looks awesome.
It's a pallet.
Yeah. It's a darn good looking pallet.
It's a pallet.
It looks like you put some finish on that pallet.
Yeah, we had some left over from the fence we just had. And I just took a rag and whatever. I'm horrible at making things. And I guess, like you said, necessity is the mother of all invention.
Yeah. And again, it's the art of the start. I mean, you start with one project and it leads you to another.
Yeah, Mark, that would be sick. Yes, I would love a YT one with some LED lights. Ben, can you do that? If so, how much?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
You guys can DM each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Slide into the DMs. But that would look awesome. I did get some LEDs and I was experimenting. That's when my brain started going towards sewing, but I agree that would look awesome.
Oh, here's my wife complaining about the pallet. It's a pallet that takes up half the room. It literally does. It takes up this
more
it's
like
a good sized room. It's mine.
Yeah. Looks good. It's a good background.
Well, she doesn't like it. Now, totally off the subject of your stuff that you make. And folks, forget hitting like and subscribe. Go on to this guy, Crank Therapy's Etsy or Instagram. Go buy his stuff.
Well, thank you.
I know people are getting Christmas gifts now.
Tis the season.
Tis the season.
And they do. I will plug myself a little bit. They really do make good gifts. And like I said, I was the one as a cyclist that got a wallet as a gift and a clock as a gift, and I love them, and that's where I am today. But and people really do like them.
I want to circle back.
Let's do it.
To your house. You have, and I didn't figure it out. I only pulled up your Etsy and your Instagram, but you actually have a tour of your home.
That's a deep dive.
That's a deep dive.
That's a deep dive. Yeah. So, so during the pandemic, we're all a little bit more isolated than what we wanted to be. And for whatever reason, it came to me that you could go in places and have a 3D tour of something. And so I found a place that you could do it for free with your phone. And so I thought, boy, a lot of people like our house. They'd probably enjoy that. So I did that. And you can find it in my Instagram. There's a link to the linker tree, and I did link that. So that's a deep dive.
And I didn't pull it up, but your house, you're not just making bike things. Your house is actually very decorated.
Oh yeah. Go all out. So the fun parts, it's a timber frame house, which looks really cool. But then Recycle Bicycle 5 years ago gave me a bunch of old wheels. And so I made a wheel wall. And so our little office area has a wheel wall. Katie was totally cool with it. And we put lights around it. It looks neat. We because we're building it and we're really only limited by our creativity and the tools that we can get and the YouTube videos that we can watch. We really have tried to make something that just gels with us. So like Katie also likes to be creative. She's made a couple really neat mosaics that are up in the house, talking about the time that we've had in different places. So we really wanted to make this house us. So,
and taking the tour, or at least seeing in your Instagram, I think you have some, let me pull that up.
Yeah.
There's some folks, you've got to see this.
I think it's up. If you go the up,
I mean, even to going to your basement. I mean, here's the house.
Yeah.
That's your house. Big, look at this. He's got his own. Look how amazing, beautiful. You've got land, solar power.
Yeah,
solar power. Okay, we're a biking podcast. We don't want to see batteries. Okay, you lost my interest. No, I'm just kidding. You were even on the
keep going up. There's another.
Up.
That one. Yep, that one. That's
tiny house off the grid, folks. If you're listening on Spotify again, go to his Instagram. His house is not only just beautifully done, beautifully made, but if you are a cyclist, you're gonna love it.
We'll get the wheel wall here in just a second.
Hold on.
I'll just stop for a second. And
beautiful wood flooring
took me forever.
Bathroom showers, totally off the grid.
There's the wheel wall.
Going up the stairs. Look how beautiful that is, folks. Well, don't you wish you could do that to your house? Put wheels all over the. I guess that's your staircase.
That's our staircase. Yeah. So that wheel wall, maybe I saw somebody else did that somewhere, and I was like, I got to have that in my house. This is Katie's massage studio right there.
This is where you are right now.
Yeah, that's where I am right now. Okay. And then that I did it without, it's just our day to day. I didn't clean things up. So that was our room.
Yeah, more video of you just yapping.
Just all the time.
And then, hold on, you're going to go to the basement?
There's another video of my basement.
So the door to the basement, what is it? It's a crank set?
Yeah. I don't remember where that is. Wait, maybe go down. But yeah, I made trap doors, and the handles are an old crank. It's a special strong light. So if you guys like your older bikes, it's an old strong light set. So let's see. It's the shop tour. Go up just a smidge. That one that says shop tour. I think that's where you'll be able to see.
There's this look. My God, you're handsome.
Well, hey, That's maybe not the
It's a
truth, but I
beard.
appreciate it.
Here we
It's
go.
the
There's the wheel. Look at that.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are old Strong Light ones that I use. So whenever I go downstairs, it's so that I can keep all of my
Look at how
mess and keep
creative your
all of my
stairs are.
noise. Yeah. So those are called alternating tread stairs, and they take up just a ton less space. And so that's why I put them downstairs so that I could use more space to junk up.
Now, you got to be, excuse me, got to be pretty proud of what you have created with you and your wife. I don't want to leave her out because the home
Definitely. I mean,
definitely her. Like,
yeah, no
you
way
never
I'm doing
sit
this on
back
my
and
own.
go, what? I did this and I'm still doing it.
You know, sometimes I do lose that. You know, I lose the forest for the trees or the trees for the forest or however that goes. And I'm looking forward. Like I get excited about the next thing. So I do try to slow down, stop, smell the roses, smell our house smells like wood. And I don't notice that because, well, one, I kind of lost my smell, but I don't notice it because I'm in it all the time. It's just like anything else. If you're in it all the time, sometimes you don't appreciate it. And when friends come over, they go, your house smells like pine and like wood. And it just brings us to this wonderful, like warm feeling. And yeah, so it is great when you can just, when I stop and go, wow, I'm incredibly lucky, incredibly blessed to have an awesome wife that has let me do a lot of the crazy stuff that I've done. And just, you know, a lot of the things that I've been able to build here, you know, my friends and family have helped with tools or with ideas or with manpower. So, you know, I definitely didn't do it alone. Katie was swinging hammers with me. So yeah, it takes a whole village.
Is she crazy with bikes as well?
Not as crazy. She's more sane with bikes. She she likes to ride with me, but not as much as I like to ride with me. And actually, the big thing that has helped us a ton on the bike is we bought a tandem. We bought a tandem Burley on Facebook Marketplace for like $300 or $400. It was
Nice.
like as a joke. We're like, she's like, oh, this would be funny. It was her idea. And we got it, and it has been the main bike that we ride. When we ride together, we ride that tandem, and she loves it. She can be in the back and kind of be hands-free and just enjoying the ride, and I can be focusing on whatever I focus on. And a tandem is a funny relationship thing. As a couple, you either love it or you hate it, and we're on the love it. And when we do our long trails, like we've done DC to Pittsburgh several times on it, and it's great.
I've always wanted to do that, but I feel sorry for my wife to have to look at my butt crack the whole time.
Yep. Yeah, you know, it's a funny thing, but or there's smells that happen if you're behind somebody. But Katie's she's a trooper. She really likes it, or at least she tells me she likes it. And she goes with me.
Jonah wrote, yeah, you didn't go down the trails, Fractured Rider in Finland. You didn't go down the bike park, the trails on a tandem, did you? I want to see video on that on your channel.
Some of those tandem mountain bikers, oh, that's sketchy.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Oh, it's crazy. If you watch them go off jumps and whatnot, next level.
How has family received you doing this as a living? Do they go, okay, so when are you going to get a real job? Or
so
has that even happened? I mean, you're obviously living life.
I'm living life, living the dream. You know, most of my ideas are kind of on the fringe. They're a little outside the norm. I mean, a 20 by 20 house, that's small. Living off grid, that perplexes some folks. And then wanting to, you know, make something out of junk. My parents are very supportive, and my wife's parents are very supportive. But I know at times, you know, my ideas are out there. But luckily, there's enough love that they can let me do some stuff and see where it goes. And they can, both my mom and my dad have helped me. You know, they'll maybe come down. They live a few hours away, but maybe they'll come down and help me with an event every once and again. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. But I know there are some things when you're on the fringe, like, you know, some of my crazy ideas, I think they kind of question some things, but they're very supportive and loving all at the same time.
I think that's, you're bringing that up. I think it's very important for you to be able to do what you're doing, that you have that support. Yeah. You know, I don't think people can do that stuff without the people pushing you and saying, go do it. Yeah. Enjoy it. Do what you want. A lot of people don't do because they don't have that support. And
Right. And my biggest supporter by far is my wife, and I couldn't do anything that I'm doing without her. She's able to pay a lot of the bills right now, and we have a little bit of money set aside from when we both work, but without her, support and being there with me every step of the way, it just wouldn't happen.
Really?
So shout out to Katie. Thank you,
No,
Katie.
no, Katie, I don't see Katie in the chat. So
she'll be on later.
I'm kidding. But the dog. Dogs are way more important than any of this. Ben, I don't want to take up any more of your time, but and
it's
unless there's
it's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for having me on. I've enjoyed following along with your podcast and following along with your growth as well. And soon some crazy stickers are coming your way. And whenever the post office, it was partially my fault. I got it, and Labor Day, I forgot all about that. But you got a card holder on the way.
You are definitely going to be someone that I am going to Etsy for the holidays. I appreciate that. I appreciate you coming on. Where was I going with this? I was going somewhere. I was actually going to go somewhere. Folks, go on to CrankTherapy, the Instagram. I'm sure you can work with him on a special or custom thing.
Yeah.
Go to Etsy, CrankTherapy. He's got really great wallets, clocks. Just the guy is incredible. It's just I'm really at a loss with words. I really got to tell you that you've blown, old saying, you've blown my socks off, man. Like it's fantastic.
Johnny, thanks for having me on, and congratulations, 2 years and growing your own community. I'm seeing 250 comments in the comment section right now.
Oh, you can see how many there are?
On my end, because I wasn't able to open them up easily, but there's over 200 comments of people just, they're excited for what you're doing, what I'm doing, and just congratulations on building your own community. And thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Shut your face when you're talking to me. No, I really appreciate it. Again, folks, like and subscribe. Go on to him. If you haven't followed him, go on to Instagram, because not only does he make great stuff, hysterical. Another one of those funny Instagrammers, really good stuff. Okay, Steve, get out of here. YouTube stuff.
Well, thanks. I do put some time into the reels. I enjoy making them, so I appreciate you saying that.
What can we see next going forward? Has your mind already started going forward with more product? That's a question before I end it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, the steps forward for CrankTherapy. I do plan to make a lot more different kinds of wallets, because I found that wallets are a very personal thing, and we all have different styles that work with our life. What works for me might not work for somebody else. And so I hope to make a large range of wallets so that you can find the thing that you really like. If you want to support me, that's awesome. I hope to connect with some like-minded folks in the bicycle industry, like little mom and pop bicycle shops. I love to work with them. I've been working with Kickstand Culture up near Buffalo, New York. I hope to work with some more folks and get my stuff in front of people. And if they like it, that'd be great. And then I have a little shop open in Carlisle, and I hope to, have some of my bigger stuff there. And just stay creative, and you never know what's going to come down the pipeline.
Now, Pete, do you have, now I know you burn this means burn, burn your logo into things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a way to customize burning? Another question, or is
I have
a brander that has your logo on it?
So I right now have a brand, and I can only put on my brand just because it's a super simple setup. But I'm hoping someday that I can burn in people's initials and have it be, something that, you can personalize it for yourself or your loved one. Right now I'm working, but that's a little ways away, because there's a couple technical things that are outside of the realm of what anybody else does. So it's hard to find. I'd have to make it. Possibly. Yeah, I work with a lot of stuff that are made for leather workers, but their temperatures don't get up high enough. Mm-hmm. So there's some, but now I have a permanent ink that I can use. I haven't divulged this to the world, so just here, this is where I'm announcing it to the world. I can also put on the inside of the wallets. I bought some stamps that I can put people's names and people's initials and whatnot. So I'm still kind of developing that, but yeah, personalizing something is a way that I hope to go.
So Crank Therapy is just going to keep cranking it out and keep
That's
going.
a good way to motion. Yep, Crank Therapy just keeps on going.
Folks, thank you, Ben. Again, thank you so
Yeah.
much. I can't. I can thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you a million times.
Well, thank you,
But
Johnny. I appreciate it, and congratulations, and thanks everybody for coming on and all those comments. This has been a blast.
Again, well, he said it, folks. In the comments, you know who you are: Steve, Joey, Jarno, Marty. We had Finland and New Zealand in the house to watch you. That's
International crew.
Do
Yeah.
you ship internationally? One more question.
What's up?
Do you ship internationally?
I want to, but it's daunting. There's some it's not immigration stuff. There's something that I don't quite understand. So hopefully someday. And I know I have a couple folks. There's a lovely gentleman from Germany that is going to watch this. He wanted to be on, but he said it's 3:00 in the morning my time. So he's jumping on tomorrow. I do hope to be able to ship internationally and get this stuff out to anybody that's interested.
Okay. Enough. Enough of you, mister. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Appreciate all of you people. Remember to like and subscribe. Go to his channel, follow, and go buy stuff on Etsy. Ben, thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. I just appreciate being here, and thanks for talking.
Thanks, everybody, for another great episode of Mountain Bike Q&A. Take care, everyone.